the first one I have to talk to you about is Bellini. But first, I keep on saying first too much. First, I want to address the sense of light and color that we see in Venetian painting. What? Venice does not want to be associated with the Italian mainland. And while they understand the principles, and they'll use the principles of linear perspective, atmospheric perspective, and chiaroscuro, there is this unexplained, tangible sense of light in Venetian painting. Now, I know you're thinking, Miss Cortez, you just love Venice. Remember, my head belongs in Rome, my heart belongs in Venice. I get it. And I don't remember if I said this before, but the light in Venice behaves differently. Okay, sorry about that. So, let's see. The light in Venice, it behaves differently. It's amazing. When the sun sets in Venice, I don't know, the way that the light and the water, it reflects off of the water. There's this like mist from the sea mixing with the hot air from the mainland. It creates this, and this is the best image I have for this. It creates this hazy rose gold, purple, blue light. And I don't know if I told you the story before, but when I was an undergrad, I took a whole class on Venetian art, and my instructor was like, oh, the light in Venice, it's so special. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You're just saying that because Venice looks cool. It's floating on top of the water. But she was right, because when I went to Venice and I was sitting there on my first night, sitting there, I was at a restaurant like right over here. I was looking out on the water, and all of a sudden, it did it. It did this. The light did this. And it's not just when the sun is setting. It's not just during the daytime with the reflections off the water. It's also at night. Now, this modern picture here, it's showing you electric lights, but just remove those and put in torches, put in lanterns, and think about those open flames dancing and reflecting off of the water. And then when it's dark, the stars above, they shine and they twinkle on the glistening glass of the water. Oh, all of this is to say that the light in our paintings is going to be very distinctive and a characteristic of the Venetian Renaissance. It's still part of it today. I just want to show you this. Monet, he is obsessed with light in the Impressionist period, and he went to Venice to kind of try to capture the magic of Venice. Oh, look at that. Venice. So, our first work of art today is at the Church of San Zaccaria. It's just down the way from the Doge's Palace. This is probably the restaurant that I ate at. I'm thinking about now when I experienced the sunset for the first time. I think it was these green awnings, or these ones over here. Anyways, just beyond the way is San Zaccaria. The Church of San Zaccaria, it's dedicated to, well, Saint Zachary or Zachariah. And the painting that we're going to look at inside is by one of these geniuses of light. Here it is. Where is it, Miss Cortez? It's this one, right here. The artist, Giovanni Bellini. The title, the San Zaccaria Altarpiece. And this is still in its original location of the Church of San Zaccaria in Venice. There you go. Now, at the time that he painted this, he was the lead or the chief or the master of painting in Venice. But he comes from a long line of famous painters. His dad was a famous painter. His brother was a famous painter. And Bellini, you can see here, his attention to light and shadow, it's mesmerizing. We're going to look at some of the details, but let me just establish what we're looking at. So we have the Virgin Mary, and in her lap, baby Jesus. And on either side, we have two sets of saints, a male and a female, male and a female. Oh, balance, yes. And then below, we have an angel playing a viola. It's kind of like a violin. And they're all enclosed in this half dome piece of architecture with this gold mosaic ceiling. And then you can see some hints of a landscape behind them. Let me just draw your attention to that half dome. I wish we could all go to Venice right now and just bask in the glory of Bellini. He is able to create this heavenly sense of light, and we get the understanding of the texture and the light bouncing off of this dome. You might think this dome kind of looks like a Byzantine dome, and you'd be right, because you know what? The Venetians have a long history with the Byzantine Empire, before and after the Constantinople was under the control of the Ottoman Turks. Their entire church of San Marco is decorated inside with these elaborate Byzantine mosaics. So he's playing to a Venetian ideal of these golden mosaics. Also, domes. Domes symbolize heaven, the dome of heaven, the golden stars of heaven. So to have this half dome over the Virgin Mary isn't a stretch. It's as if she is enthroned under the dome of heaven with God watching over. Ooh, nice. It's also a great example of Bellini and his understanding of light. The light in this seems to come from outside. It seems to seamlessly permeate into the surface. His attention to color affected by light is mesmerizing. There's one famous art forger. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he said that he probably could forge anybody's art, any painter's, any painting, except for anything by Bellini. He said, I cannot capture the light and color of a Bellini. I keep on saying Bellini, and you might be thinking, like the cocktail? Oh, so there is a cocktail called the Bellini. It's a delicious champagne and peach pulp juice cocktail, and it was named after Giovanni Bellini. It was developed in the 1920s at Harry's Bar. There's the bar right there, which is still open and running in Venice. No, I did not get to go to Harry's Bar when I was in Venice, but I want to the next time I go. And that name is because of this heavenly, hazy, peachy, pink, lustrous light that he's able to capture. To give you a sense of that, this portrait of the Doge that I've shown you in the past, that's by Bellini. It's one of the Doges, but look at the attention to the fabric, the chiaroscuro here. It's so sensitive. The light is making the colors so realistic, so almost heavenly. Here's in its place in San Zaccaria. So what is going on here, though? We know altarpieces. We've seen plenty of them. But in this altar, we see the Virgin Mary, baby Jesus. We see a instrument. Remember, anytime in art that we see a mouth open, there's a sound coming out. Anytime in art we see somebody playing an instrument, there's a sound coming out. So we are looking here, and we're supposed to be hearing whatever sound this viola is playing. Now the figures on either side, they're holding different elements that help to identify them. This woman here holds a palm and a broken wheel. She's Saint Catherine. This woman here, she's holding a plate with her eyeballs. What? I know, that's Saint Lucy. Okay, what, Miss Cortez? Okay, Catherine, she was a Christian in the Roman Empire when it was illegal to be a Christian, and she was supposed to be tortured for being of this faith by being strapped to a spoked wagon wheel and then beaten and bashed in. And when it was going to happen, the wheel broke. It was a miracle. And so she's often holding that wheel that broke. Lucy, she's got her eyeballs because, well, she was a Christian when it was illegal, and she was tortured by having her eyeballs plucked out. So she often will have a plate with her eyeballs in them. On the other side of them, we have, oh, white beard, blue, yellow, keys. Ah, that's St. Peter. This guy here, you haven't seen him in class, but I'll just tell you, it's St. Jerome. St. Jerome, who is known for translating the Bible from Greek into Latin. Okay, so we got 4 saints, angel, Virgin Mary, baby Jesus. What we have here is a Sacra Conversazione. Oh, it's Italian for sacred conversation. It's an image of the Virgin and Child surrounded by various saints. Now, this is a sacred conversation, not just because they are saints, but because none of them lived in the same location at the same time. So they could never have existed here on earth together. This must be a vision. This must be some kind of experience with you. You're part of the conversation. So you're standing here in front of the altar, and you see the saints, you see the Virgin Mary, you know you're going to be standing there and praying. And it's as if they are not talking amongst themselves. Notice they're not looking and talking to each other. They are listening to you. So this is a conversation with the sacred for you. I love this detail here. I love this detail because you can see how the Virgin Mary, she's very demure, but listening to us. Baby Jesus is not. He's not paying attention at all. What's he paying attention to? He's looking down at the viola, the angel. He's acting like a little baby. Look at, she's holding him in her lap as he's kind of tromping up and down, up and down. So we have this sweet kind of elegance and innocence to it as well. Oh, Bellini. In terms of the other characteristics of the Renaissance, well, do we see some linear perspective? I'll give you a hint. Yes, we do. Do you know where it is? See it down there? Oh, okay. What about atmospheric perspective? Do you see any atmospheric perspective? Yeah, a little bit? Okay. What about chiaroscuro? Yes, obviously. Boom, boom, boom. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What about the idea of grand people deserve grand architecture? Yep, there it is. So, in conclusion, yes, it is Renaissance. It has chiaroscuro, linear perspective, atmospheric perspective. It has grand people deserving grand architecture, but it's not going to be as obvious or in your face about it like what we see in the Periginos and the Raphaels. Clear foreground, middle ground with all that linear perspective, and then all that background. Bellini's like, yeah, I got it. I'll give you a little bit in the front. I'll give you some atmospheric perspective on the side. And then let's just enjoy the light. Let's enjoy the color. Let's enjoy the space. It's so typical of the Venetians, right? Just the spectacle and the splendor of it all. Don't cover it with all these rules and lines.